I'm starting to feel like people hate each other.
Before you talk shit about people, it's coming, Sully.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Sorry, just
The salesman's journey.
the salesman's journey. I am super amped. Chum.
I'm even more amped. I finally got you to actually put your story in a book.
Number 2, chum. Number 2. Hey, done.
The story of Barry Mitchell.
Hey, 2.5 years to plan and 2 months to do it. Isn't that the story of life and everything? We talk and talk and talk and gonna do it and do a bit until you actually just draw a line in the sand and go, stuff it, let's get it done.
Yeah, if you want to do it.
And then we make it happen.
Yeah, if you really want to do it, you do it.
100%.
If you don't, then you talk about
So
it.
it's coming. End of the week, we'll have it out. Hey? It's pretty exciting. A salesman's journey. So if you're interested, hook us up, let us know. And and the launch, end of the month.
End of the month,
End of
The
the month.
Salesman's Journey, Book 3. Is it book?
Yeah, no, this is book 2. So I wrote, the first book I wrote was in 2016, and then I did the second edition last year, and then, so this is my second full book.
Okay, second full book.
Second full book.
Sales is a life skill. This one is the expanded edition.
Yeah.
Part 2.
And now we got Salesman's Journey.
Oh, man. Exciting.
Yeah. Okay, cool. What were you saying? You're saying why people are ugly to each other.
I'd never say that. I just think people don't like each other anymore.
I think it's because people don't like themselves anymore.
It's crazy. Especially online.
Don't you think that's true?
Yeah.
Is that lots of people don't like other people? You know, Nicole gave me a wonderful saying that I love. Hurt people hurt people.
Mm.
Hey, hurting people. They like to hurt other people.
It's easy to do though.
Hey.
Especially when it's, and like you say, when you are hurt, when you're not happy with yourself. Like we started and you're speaking about when you make decisions to do something and you don't do it, it's easier for me to deflect. Right? And be like, but Barry sucks anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And now we're talking about Barry, we're not talking about the shit that I didn't do.
100%.
So we've been talking about this. The last time we did this specific topic was like 5 years ago, maybe.
Really?
The cup.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. So let's maybe we set a little bit of context.
Yes.
I've been saying to Sulu for the last couple of weeks that everywhere you look seems people can't disagree without without abusing each other. You look on social media and someone's doing something, and instead of someone just saying, I disagree with what's going on because of this, this, and this, 90% of the time, I disagree with this friggin' idiot and this clown, and those are very polite derogatory terms.
Yeah.
But you see it, and you're like, goodness me, no wonder there's so much friggin' conflict around.
Yeah.
Because we can't actually address a problem together and agree to disagree without calling people friggin' names, man.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like we definitely see it. Well, for me, I feel as though I see it a lot in South Africa because this is where we're from, this is where we are. It's very hard to talk about another country.
Chummy, just look at the Democrats and the Republicans.
Yeah, but it's still tough because we're not living in that.
No, I get that, but just watch.
Yeah, 100%.
If this person says this person says this, they're calling each other names and da 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 da. But you see it. You just come back home.
Yeah,
you see it. I mean, we did a podcast last week around some stuff the president said around businesses.
Yes.
I didn't slate the president. I didn't say he was this or that. We gave our point of view and said, the way that we put it is that governments really can't function
without business.
Highly effectively without businesses.
Yeah.
And businesses need governments to create the right context, so they should work together.
Yes.
When governments are not creating the right environment, businesses struggle. And when businesses aren't performing in the right environment, governments will struggle. And that's how it works.
Yeah.
Yet, even there's this... And we chatted about it, put it on.
Very cool.
And then you look at the friggin' posts that come up. It's like... just derogatory on both sides.
Oh my word!
The racism stuff comes up. The anti this side, the anti that side. What a lot of shit.
It's so tough to be, like, for me, from my perspective, right? It's incredibly tough to be in the space of social media because I have to look at the comments first, right? Put it out because I'm always putting out things with I would say, like, a pure heart. I'm not trying to cause controversy or anything like that. It's the discussion that we have. We put it out. We get people's feedback. But sometimes the feedback is just like, why did we have to go down that road there?
And where does that road even come from?
Exactly. It has nothing to do with what we were talking about. And it's so quick. And the funny part is, it's so quick for people to jump to racism. That's like the instant one. And you kind of sit there and you go, well, how can we create a dialogue here if you went racist? You said...
And then it's not even racist, but someone will take it racist. You know what I mean? It's like,
which has become the easy.
Like I'll go, I don't like Suli. Someone will say, yeah, you don't like Suli because he's a black cock.
Yeah.
It's like, cock, man, I don't like Suli because he's an asshole.
Yeah, you know what's going to happen now? Somebody might clip that piece and say, I don't like Suli because he's a black asshole. Get him over. And Comedy Greatness had a great run.
And then suddenly everyone's weighing in and suddenly it goes from, I don't like Sully because Sully did A, B, and C, which is what he did. It's irrelevant what color either of us are.
Yeah.
If you deal with the facts, it's like that's the reason. But people will bring in a whole lot of stuff. Age, friggin' race, friggin' sexism. It's like, get a life, man.
Yeah,
But I don't know, Sully, if you seeing, Chum, people, there's that saying, everyone can have an opinion as long as you agree with mine.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, I had a wonderful conversation with a friend of mine over the weekend. We were sitting down at lunch, and there was myself and Don and Taku, friend of ours Taku, and then Don's missus and Nicole, and we having lunch. And Don and I are chatting, and Don I've known for a long time. In fact, Don wrote the foreword to my book, and Don was the reason. Don's the guy that really taught me how to sell right in the beginning. And we have often disagreed on stuff. But the two of us are sitting. Eventually, the rest of the table were talking about themselves. Me and Don were having this, and it wasn't a heated conversation, but it was a robust, freedom discussion. And it started off with Don saying his words were, "Don't tell me you like Donald Trump."
Worst setup in the world.
And I was like, well, it's interesting you say that. Like is a very broad word. But, do I support some of the stuff Trump has done? Hell yeah. He's like, how could you? And then we got into this discussion. And we went from Trump and all the way to leadership and leaders and da-da-da-da-da. And very clearly, we have two very different opinions to how we look at life.
Yeah.
And funny enough, we got right down to the end, and I said to Don, you know what, Don? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what you and I think about those type of things because we can't actually do anything about it. And in the words of Buckminster Fuller, or in his paraphrased words, what can I do? I'm just a little man.
Yeah.
Well, what I can do is do what I can do in my little part of the world.
For sure.
And he said, I totally agree with that. And I said, so when you and I get off this table, we have our opinions. We're not actually going to change anything to do with American politics, South African politics, or anything. But what we both can do is go into our little part of the world and make a difference. And you know what? We had this robust discussion and then agreed to agree at the end, got out as friends as always, and it was wonderful. But do you know how many times in the world today, Sully, that would have turned into a shouting match?
Oh, yeah.
And people would have taken offense.
Oh, you would have been called...
How can you think like that? And
you support a racist, you support a bigot, you support all these things. I'm like...
And at times he said, yeah, I see how you see that, but have you thought about this? And I was like, yeah, I see that. However, this is how I take it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think we're losing, if losing it, but maybe lost it to such a large degree because people have become lazy in their thinking.
What do you mean?
Well, you become, so there's so much information in the world that we develop these opinions, and then what we do is we go find the information. In fact, in today's world, we don't even have to find the information because that little thing sets it up for you. Your cell phone is listening to us all the time, and monitor. I mean, call me tin hat or whatever, but it happens. And so the algorithm sets it all up, and suddenly your worldview is being supported by everything you see.
I knew it. I was right.
And it's like, yeah, you see. And then you meet someone who has a different algorithm, and they get different shit fed at them. Now we're going to have an argument.
My algorithm is right.
So I think we become lazy rather than going, okay, what is, Kiyosaki taught me one thing when it comes to deals and looking at deals, but my take is I think it's true to life. And Robert said to me, he said, Barry, in any deal, you got to find what's good in the deal, but more importantly, you got to find the bullshit in the deal. So you got to find the reason why it's not going to work. And in conversations, in anything where you are going to support your own opinion, where's the bullshit? Where's the stuff that's a little bit dodgy if I think like that?
I don't think people think like that.
I agree. I don't think people do think. I don't think people think anymore. So.
No, because like what you're saying is so spot on, right? There's so much information. I think I was actually reading the other day. I think Facebook now they're sitting at about, I think it's like 1.7 billion posts a day. That's going out on the platform, right? And just your algorithm alone, like you're saying, everybody has sort of their own algorithm. Your algorithm probably has about 50,000 new pieces of content that are coming into it, right? So it's organic, it's paid ads, it's all of that. But what I've noticed is people take the first bit.
Yeah, they don't read the whole thing.
No.
You'll hear someone that'll say, "Did you hear that there was this that happened in Boxburg?" You're like, "What?" Dude, if you had read the bottom piece,
let's just see more.
This is satire.
Yeah.
And someone's like, "Yeah, but I told you, like, dude, it was a joke."
It was a joke.
What? No, it wasn't. No, it was a joke. You have to read all the information.
100%.
You have to be present enough to actually decipher what's going on.
And I think, what's crazy is like, I feel like news media has become really good at this, giving you just the key points, not the full.
Well, that's all they have
the full
to do,
story.
because when they give the key points, it's their narrative, and they're looking for people that are supporting their narrative.
Yeah. And it's all across, right? It's no matter who you support, no matter what your side is. Like if we take this whole situation right now between Trump and the farmers.
It's like the guy told the joke yesterday. This guy, he says this joke's a little bit like a little bit around words and communication. But he says this old guy starts dating. He was a widower and a widow, and they start dating. They're in their late 70s, and they go out for dinner. And the guy goes, on the matter of sex, what do you think of it? So she says, sex infrequently. So he says, I need to ask, is that one word or two words? Now, depending on the narrative you want,
You could take that.
you could take that in both ways.
It's two
And
words.
someone would go, but he said infrequently.
Infrequently.
Yes, but I meant infrequently.
What I understood was, because if I want to take it in my context, I'm going to take it in freaking
So
separate way.
now, if you take that, isn't that happening in the world? And then everyone will justify, but they won't look at the other side of it. Like, but he could have meant that. No, he didn't mean that.
Yeah, you knew exactly what he meant, and that's the crazy part. I feel like that's where we at right now. Like in the world, everything is. That's what they said. There isn't, like, I can't remember. I was having a discussion with somebody around something that Trump had said, and they had heard just the news bits.
Oh yeah.
And I had watched it on YouTube, so I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, but there was more to what he said. No. What he said was this. And I was like, yes, he did say that. But he then clarified what he was saying if you listen to the... It was like a minute later. You didn't have to wait long. And they were stuck on their points. And I was like, I'm now sitting here arguing with you about something that you believe. I'm not saying whether or not what he said was right or wrong. We are just having a discussion about something we both saw.
And then I bet you they turned it into, so you support Trump in Europe.
Yeah, it became about that, and how dare you, and
you're
he's a racist.
But that's not even what I said. I said, that's not what Trump said.
No, I was just like, I found that interesting. I found that viewpoint interesting. I'm consistently finding the things that Trump says interesting.
Me too.
But if you take it out of context, yeah, it gets way more interesting when you take it out of
They
context.
take those two words out of context.
Yeah.
It's such a. I was chuckling when I heard that joke yesterday, but it's the same thing, isn't it?
And I mean, I wonder how many times that's happening in businesses.
All the time.
That's got to be
businesses and teams.
Yeah.
My boss said, yes, but did you hear the rest of what your boss said? And do you understand the context of why your boss said this?
Yeah.
You know, if we don't pull our socks up, everyone's going to be fired. And guess what happens? They walk away, people walk away and go, we're all getting fired. No, guys.
If we
Okay, and the reason you're getting fired is because for the last 6 months we haven't made any money. And what you haven't heard is the boss has been saying to you for 6 months, guys, we're in trouble. But you didn't want to hear that. So now what you heard is and then it gets turned into victimization and all that sort of stuff. And you're like, where did that come from?
Well, how are we landing here? And I mean, we had that not last year before last. You said some stuff that you were feeling.
Yeah.
Which is that, and that's always the thing, right? People, we championing people to speak their truths. Then when people speak their truth, you get hurt.
Yeah, you go, no, you get offended.
Offended. Sorry, yes. And we all got offended, right? The rest
team.
of us on the team got super offended. But the fortunate part, I would say, was that we were actually able to pick up what was the key point of what was being said.
Yeah.
If there was other people in that team, and I think because we have a very strong context in our team, it allowed us to be offended, but still push through it. If we had other people on the team, they would just be
Yeah, you guys, I wasn't offended.
No. Why would you be offended? You said it.
Yeah, but so and the reality is when we actually sat down and dealt with everything that was said, everyone actually agreed with me. And what you didn't like is how I said it. And my deal was like, well, who gives a shit how I said it?
Exactly.
It's what I said.
Yes.
No, but you shouldn't have said it like that. And I was like,
now afterwards, I actually don't think we'd be in the position that we're in right now as a business if you said it nicely. That's nicely, whatever that means. If you said it in a polite manner, it wouldn't have had the same. It wouldn't have had the same force. It needed force, right? To guys, we ain't shit. Get me get out of this. I am done.
well, we'd come out of COVID.
Yeah.
It was just after COVID. And everyone was euphoric and it was like, we don't have time, remember? And we had plans and we had said we were going to do things and everyone was stuffing around.
Yeah. Yep.
And yeah, I felt like I was the only one that was working.
I mean, how many leaders, I don't want to say bosses, for some reason, I don't know why. Leaders, bosses, managers, all the other PC terms.
Yes, boss.
It reminds me of
But then the youngsters will go, he's a boss.
Yeah, you see.
Like,
the change of words.
No, I go, you're a boss.
Yeah.
Or Barry's a boss.
Yeah.
If I say it in another way, it sounds racist.
Just the, yeah.
So,
Just the tweak.
But I
I'm
didn't
saying
mean
the
that.
tweak of tone, man. I'm saying.
Hey?
Yes. No, I'm with you. 1,000%.
And then someone will say, but you meant it like that. I'm like, but don't the youngsters say, hey, boss?
Yeah.
No, they don't say it. You get it? Now someone would accuse me of doing that stuff.
Oh, man, you took me off my train of thought there.
We
Just a hey, boss. Hey, boss.
I see you've changed it now.
It's just a different language.
From hey, boss to boss.
But I mean, we see it a lot with like leaders that come into our events. One of the key issues is one of the key things they one of the key things they speak about is their teams.
Yeah.
Not getting their teams to be able to do what they say they're going to do. Them not delivering, them not holding, not being accountable, and then they are the asshole.
100%.
Right, and I actually saw that a lot from the post that we put out around. In this day and age, it's hard to employ somebody because it takes you 3 months to get rid of them, for example, and they use CCMA and all of that. And I was seeing a lot of people, business owners, talking about, yeah, I've been there before. I've been burned. It's
tough.
You know
the sad part is, lots of those guys will never go back there again, Sumi.
What do you mean?
Or they won't go back and employ people.
Nah.
They'll use language like, I do it myself.
Yeah.
If you want it done properly, don't risk, just do it yourself. I'd rather stay small. The sad part is they don't want to stay small, many of them.
They don't.
They want to create something big.
100%.
But that little voice, that conditioning,
I've been burnt.
hundreds.
And it's got to be tough to be able to run especially in this day and age, to run a team where you've got to be incredibly careful about the words you can use.
That's why you set up context, John.
Okay.
You set up context and attract the right people. Because that's what you need in your team. Is you need to attract the right people. That I mean, you and I talk stuff in our office,
Crazy stuff.
and the wrong people sitting in there would make lots of accusations, and we're like, get a life, man.
Yeah.
We have a sense of humor. We laugh. We joke. And when one of us says something that's like, sort of, tell me the context of that, or I'm like, cuck, man. But you know what I mean. So in teams, you have to create the right environment so you allow the right people to be the right people. Does that make sense? Because we don't all fit into teams. Just because we can do a job, it doesn't mean we fit around the people that we're with. So you want like-minded people. You want like-being people to be around you. Because if you can't fit in, people will take offense. They'll get upset, and then they get upset at the wrong things. You know, and then what happens is you create issues out of issues that don't exist.
Yeah, because then everything that comes out of your mouth is, because you're still thinking about what I said last week. Now this week, everything that comes out of your mouth, you just.
And then what happens is so someone leaves that environment, goes to tell somebody else who's doesn't know that environment, who comes from a similar environment as that person. They'll go, and then they'll start exacerbating the problem by telling them why it's not right, and they have no idea the context of the problem. That's why we're very deliberate in finding the right people.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like you said, you can hire.
You can hire anyone.
But yes, you can hire anyone to do a job.
If I want a sales rep,
you can hire.
Well, look, I'm looking for a salesperson for Joburg for our business now.
Yeah.
We got 50 CVs coming.
Yeah.
A huge array of people.
Yeah.
I know that very few of them will fit into our culture.
Oh,
and there's nothing wrong with them.
I would say
they just so when you get very clear on your culture and who you are, you're looking for people who want to be part of who you are.
Okay.
The hard part is you get people who go, I want to work with you because I like who you are, until they're really in there, and then they go, oh, cuck. Because that's when you really learn who people are. So the more clarity we have around our context, the more clarity we have on our beliefs, our context, our value, the more we'll attract people. But we have to be right up front. This is how we work.
Yeah.
This is how we work. This is how we play. This is our sense of humor.
And I mean, this is simple things like the contract, right? Like in the contract, it says you may need to work weekends.
Yes.
If now let's just say you hire somebody, or we do hire somebody, and we come to a weekend event and they're like, I'm busy this weekend. It's like, no, but in your contract, you see, that shows you didn't read your contract.
100%.
And that's an important piece, because that's also part of fitting into what we do and how we do it, right?
Yeah.
You may not like it, but this is how we play the game.
Well, if you're going to play the game, you better learn to like it. If you want to play with us, you better learn to like it. Yeah, that's why I love the All Blacks. You know, in the book Legacy, you know, he says, with the All Blacks, great men make great All Blacks, not great rugby players. And that for me signifies that whole thing about, you know, the right people make the right All Blacks. The right men make the right All Blacks. And they're very clear on that. And I think that's a big thing in business, because then you will never eliminate it, but you will limit. You will limit that conflict of difference. Okay. And that sounds pretty tough, because we're all different, but you want the same different people. I don't know if that makes any sense. You know, you and I are different. We come from different backgrounds, different families, but we're the same. You know, I mean, I've known you 12 years now, nearly, probably 12 years. Yeah, but we're always connected, always had a similar sense of humor. You know, so yes, we have different backgrounds. Yes, we come from different cultures. But way more similarities
Than
between us
differences.
than
Those,
differences.
and it's funny. It's actually the more the physical differences, right? Like
100%.
you white and black. That was one of the
Serious?
yeah. Who would have thunk it? Who would have? When they start our own podcast to upset people. Black and white. It's all just about racism. I don't know how I'm gonna edit this video.
Or not.
No, and I think
But,
that's
so if you get that, but is that any difference to a team?
No.
I mean, you've played sport like me all your life. I mean, have you ever gone and played for a team and you've gone, yeah, I love playing hockey, for example, but I just don't connect with the guys on this team?
you know what the funny
You
thing
came
is?
and played for my team.
Yes, that I connected with one person. That was you. Everybody else, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like I love playing and I love being on a team, but when you get to a point where you're like, shit, I'm the only one running.
Well, the fact is, we were all 15 years older than you.
For sure.
And
I got abused because of that.
But then also what happened is you realize after 2 games that most of the team weren't actually there for the hockey. They were there for the
After
fights,
activities,
afterwards,
yeah.
and you were like, I think if you went there now, you might fit in a different way into that team.
Why?
Because you're like, okay, I can put up with the after activities.
No. Not on a Wednesday.
Not now. Maybe a few years
Actually,
ago.
then, it's so weird. Then I should have fitted in.
But you didn't.
But I didn't because I was like,
And it wasn't that my mates were bad people.
no.
They were really all good
Great guys.
I mean,
We just wanted
they
to-
accommodated you. And you just went. I mean, when I said to you, "Why don't you play for us?" Yeah, I just don't really fit in there. And I didn't go,
How dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah.
It was like, I understand. We're 15 years. Most of us were 15 years older than you,
Yeah.
and we had all played fairly serious hockey at some stage.
Yeah.
And now we were down playing Masters, and we played hard, but the reality was we were seven steps slower than we used to be.
Yeah, it was a lot less chilled, right? And I think for me then, I didn't really understand competition in this. I didn't do things for fun.
Yeah.
Like just,
Yeah.
I didn't just come to play. If we're playing, we need to win. And now I'm feeling like, you guys are playing hard, but like this effort to win is not what, when I realized that, I was like, okay, cool. I need to find another team that is probably looking to do something different. And that's
100%.
okay. They're not bad people. They're not wrong. I mean,
But how many people would stay in that environment and try and
change it.
complain rather than get out of the environment?
yeah.
Get out, go somewhere else, man.
100%. Go somewhere. I'm
You
not
know?
going to try and change you guys. I get it. You guys are 15, 20 years older than me. You've played at a high level. Now it's more just about the camaraderie of a bunch of guys coming, hanging out, playing a little bit of hockey, having some
100%.
drinks afterwards. I want to come in and be like, no, we must win. We're going to now start training. Funny enough, I would have probably got kicked off the team versus me leaving the team.
I mean, my next statement may be very controversial, silly, but
Bring it.
I'm going to bring it. It's like, like this big contentious issue around Iran.
Oh, yeah.
But like my take,
What I knew.
just let them be. As long as people do not harm people outside,
100%.
just let them be.
They're not doing
It's
anything
like,
to you.
it's my house. Let me be in my house. If I don't want friggin' dogs and cats in my house, don't come and tell me I have to have dogs and cats in my house.
Yeah.
No, it sounds very simple, and I understand the complexities and all that behind it. But I look at it and go, you know what? Why don't, instead of actually just building, each of us just get up and build the environments to make our environment a better place, and get on. It's like going to church.
Yeah.
If you're not a Christian,
Don't go to church.
well, go to church, and if you don't connect with it, they don't say you guys at church must stop praying.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I went to my mother-in-law's
I went to church, and you guys must stop praying because I don't like how you pray. It's like, well, don't go back to that church.
Yeah, like I went to my mother-in-law's church and it was too long, so I didn't go again. I'm on to tell them how to do their church. It's
No.
their church. You do you.
And you're not going to tell your mom you should stop going because it's bloody ridiculous.
No, I was just like, I am not going to participate in this because this is taking too long. Like, I've been here
100%.
for 6 hours.
But the problem is,
What's going on?
if people want to, because you're not doing it the way I expect you to do it, you must change because
Exactly.
because I don't know why, and I know I know that whole Aranya thing is very contentious, but I just look at it and go, you know what? If there's a group of people that that have an environment and they live there.
So
Let them live there. As long as you're not subjugating other people, as long as you're not pushing other people down, as long as you're not, abusing other people, just live.
Okay, so what I'm gonna say to add to yours, because to give a comparison, this is like how I feel about the Irania thing. In Cape Town, in the Cape Flats,
Yeah.
the most dangerous place, they have a set. They do what they do, set of rules how they govern their land.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Why is nobody going there and saying, but they can't do that?
That's because you'll get shot.
You see what I'm saying? Now, if that was to happen, because I feel, for me, I'm like, okay, it's weird that you are a sort of country within a country. But like you're saying, if you're not harming anybody, you're not causing anybody any issues, you guys are going about your business, doing what you're doing, then go about your business. Until you start to infringe on the greater society, I don't really see a problem with it. But because if we flipped it and we said it was a group of black people, a group of Zulu people that did the exact same thing, would it not be okay then because they're Zulus? Because it's cultural, because it's... Isn't that the same as, it's Orange, it's Afrikaners.
So I think, I think for me, my take on the beef is the case of, people saying, you're not a white person, you can't come there. Reality is this, I'm probably not going to feel very welcome there either. I'm a white guy, I don't speak a word of Afrikaans.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I'm going to fit in there.
You're not going to fit in.
So the reality is why would I want to go there? And
go force them.
But I'm not going to make them bad people, but why would I want to go there? I'm not going to fit in there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Can you imagine you and I rocking up there?
Yeah. So,
Well, you and I could rock up there, or we could rock up at a 100% Zulu place. We wouldn't fit.
No.
Because neither of you could. Neither of us both speak anything else.
And now we're going to try and force them to speak English because we don't speak English. And it's like, wait, but that's what they only speak Zulu. And that's okay. I don't fit in here. I'm cool with that. My apologies, guys. But now we live in this world where we're trying to fit round pegs into square pegs and say that, no, I must be accepted. And you must. And I'm like,
as long as you don't subjugate the greater good of people.
Yeah,
for me, it's like, and I see the same thing happen. You watch people, they go to a shopping mall. And then they'll go drink and get drunk and shout and scream there. And then someone will come and stop them and they'll go, no, you can't. Who are you to tell me? It's like, whoa, there's a greater group of people and this is a common environment. So there you got to follow the rules for the common environment, not just yourself. And I think just in general, we become so self-serving, man. And if it's not serving me stuff, you must change it. But I'll do whatever I want to serve me.
Yeah, I won't change.
I won't change. So, yeah, when I look at that, and I haven't studied Irania enough and gone into it, but I just look at that and go, if there was wouldn't you love it if someone actually started a Zulu speaking university?
That would be hella.
And you said, was Zulu speakers? Why? Because it's your mother tongue. We're going to study. Wow, what a wonderful frigging thing. Now, I think if they turn around if you're turning around to someone saying, no, you can't come here because of the color of your skin.
That's very different.
No, Barry, if you come here, you have to speak Zulu. No problem, I'll speak Zulu. I'm fluent in Zulu, for example. Then I go and then you get made to feel welcome.
Yes.
Now, if they partake in Zulu customs and everything, well, guess what? If I'm going there, I have to partake in the customs.
Yeah.
If I step back and say, no, I'm not going to partake in the customs because, well, then don't go there.
Yeah.
And I know that for me, a lot of people say, oh, that's very simplistic. But when you do that, you create, that's environments, that's cultures, that's groups of people, that's, that old saying, what's it, birds of a feather flock together? You don't see the turkey telling the eagle to come and stand on the ground because you're friggin' embarrassing me, asshole.
Oh, no, it's only humans. It's the animal I feel like the animal kingdom it's probably the only thing that was perfectly designed. Like, just my take, because what you said there's spot on. Right?
No, I think it's perfect. Everything's been perfectly designed, so we just human beings have stuffed up the design.
Yeah, we came in and we
trying to redesign it ourselves.
We can do this better, and I think that's how we end up in all the conflicts that we end up in, because
so
you have a different viewpoint than me, therefore let's fight about it.
So you take that back into business.
Yeah.
We run a business. This is our business. It's no one else's business. So this is how we do things. As long as we're being legal, ethical, moral, okay, and we're operating within the rules of the greater framework, then if you come here, it's like someone coming in going, no, you guys must wear suits. No, we don't wear suits here. No, but I want to wear a suit. Dude, you're not going to fit in here if you wear a suit. Yeah, but I'm going to come in a suit. No, we're not going to hire you. Oh no, now you're being, what's it? Now you're being, what's the word? Discriminatory because I'm a suit. No, you're right. I'm not letting you come into my business because you just won't fit in. Why won't you fit in? Because when we go to our events, none of our clients wear suits. And you're going to make them feel bad and da-da-da-da, so you're not coming in our business. But someone will turn it against us rather than saying, you know what, I actually don't fit in with these guys because I like wearing suits and they don't.
You need to go find it.
Let me go find a group of suit wearers.
Yeah.
Great, go to a group. But for some reason we don't want to do that in the world.
Yeah, it's funny.
I want what I want and you must change to suit me, but I'm not prepared to change to suit you.
It's funny. A friend of mine, she put out a post the other day. She's looking for an MC for an event that she's doing, 25 to 30 female.
Yeah.
And obviously she got a bit of stick for that for that target audience. And then she had to put out another post explaining why she wanted that.
Why should she even have to explain why?
I was like, this is so.
Why explain why? So she wanted an MC.
Yes.
Of between 25 and 30 years old.
Female.
Great. So what's wrong with that?
Apparently, those
Why?
people weren't happy.
I'm looking for an MC 25 to 30 years old.
That's what I'm looking for.
Okay. And guess what? I'm looking for an MC 25, 30 years old who has green skin. So what?
It's what I'm looking for.
It's what I want. Why take exception? I'm not looking for you. But we'll take exception.
Yeah, because everybody must be included.
But you can't,
which is just impossible.
But we're never going to include everyone, Suli.
You can't.
You can only be included if you fit in to that environment.
Oof.
But you have to be prepared to fit into that environment. And if you don't want to fit into that environment, why do you want to be in that environment? Go find another environment or create your own environment.
Yeah.
It is. It's that bullshit. I'm treading dangerously today. It's like non-woman wanting to play in women's sports. Go create your own non-woman sport.
Thank you.
If you want to go, if you're not a biological male or biological female, go start your own hockey team.
For sure.
Or your own athletics. No problem. I don't have a problem with that.
Me neither.
But don't tell women that now you have to change.
Yeah.
No, you must accept me because these are our standards.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I was speaking to somebody about like just on that topic about like what Caster Semenya had to go through during that time period.
Oh man,
as a biological female, what they did to that career.
And she was she's a
biological female,
and they want to take everything away from her.
Everything, shut it down,
make her have to take tablets so that she could reduce her testosterone, and then for
not 5 years later,
no,
here we are.
It's this whole idea of everyone must be included. We'll never be included in everything, Suli. It's not possible.
It's not. It can't be possible. Like I feel like that's the whole purpose of people almost.
But I think the biggest thing is don't subjugate other people. Just you do you, I do me, and if I'm making any form of sense, but it's like. You know, you go start off your business. If you want to do that. But in this business, this is the way we operate. You know, if you're going to come work with us, you're going to come work the way we work. If you don't like it, don't come work with us. You're not a bad person. You're just the wrong person.
You're the wrong person for this environment, and you're the wrong person for what we do.
100%.
You may be the right person somewhere else, but people then spend so much time focused on, Barry said I was the wrong person. So now, your whole being and identity is tied to being the wrong person. And it's like, no, you're the wrong person for this role, in this position, in this business.
And then we go back to where we started. Then we start attacking people and calling them names and da-da-da. Instead of actually just getting on.
Just move on.
Just get on with life and do what we have to do. Therein lies the problem with people. We bring baggage and most people are not dealing with themselves. Most people are not growing themselves, changing their level of emotional intelligence, growing their spirit. And we become intolerant of people that don't agree with us.
Yeah, I feel like that.
And that's sad.
That old school thing of no emotions in business, I can see why it was why back in the day it was such an important thing. Come to work, do your job, don't bring your baggage here. Just because,
but it created lots of other issues there.
100%. But like now, all of a sudden, like you're saying, people aren't dealing with their issues. They're not getting, not increasing their emotional intelligence, not increasing their spiritual being. And now you're coming with all this unnecessary baggage into a space that probably isn't ready to receive it.
Yeah.
And now they're sitting there going, oh, I have to get rid of you because of X. And you're like, no, it's because of Y. And so, no, that doesn't even make sense.
Hundreds. I mean, environment's an interesting thing. I was driving back through, bottom of Houghton, the bottom end of Joburg down below Yeovil yesterday.
Yeah.
And on a Sunday afternoon, I mean, everyone's on the street and all the bottle stores are open and people are in and out of there. And my thought was, if I wanted to actually stop and have a dog,
Mm-hmm.
and I did stop there and I got out and walked into one of those pubs, what would actually happen to me? That, like, would I be welcomed or not? So now the question is so I go, well,
How are you coming in?
well, one, how am I coming in? Is it an environment that I understand? And do I expect to come in with how I expect to be treated, or do I expect to come in and operate how the environment is operating? And so does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it's being present enough to understand the culture that's happening within that environment. And if I'm going to take myself into that environment, to understand the environment I'm going into, and am I prepared to play the game that's being played in that environment? If I'm not, then I mustn't go into that environment.
Yeah.
But how many people would want to go in there? Why? Because I want to go in there and then expect other people to change because I've now walked in, and that's not how you should be doing things. It's like Michaela said to me first, and I think you said it to me when I took you to Zim the first time as well. When you drive in Zim, you change. And I said, well, I have to drive in a different way in Zim because the game is different. I can sit and complain about why people don't obey the traffic laws and why they don't stop and why they don't do this. Well, guess what? It ain't going to change for me.
No.
And if I'm going to sit and whinge and whine, then I mustn't go back there.
Yeah.
But if I want to play in that environment, then somewhere I have to go, okay, well, the way they play the game here is different to how I play the game at home. But if I want to play here, I better play by their rules because it's their rules. So how quickly can I adapt? Whereas people will sit and whinge and whine about, but this is not how it's meant to be done and it should be done like this. It's like, well, reality is this is how it is done.
This is the system.
So this is the system. So can you adapt to the system? And I mean that brings in a whole lot of other topics.
It does.
So yeah, I just think the biggest thing is really not, maybe I'll finish on this little piece before you wrap it up. Is that probably one of my biggest learnings I ever learned from Robert, which comes from Buckminster Fuller, is the ability to what Robert calls standing on the edge. And the analogy is this: if you have a coin, and I ask this in all my seminars, I say to people, how many sides to a coin? The overwhelming response is 2. Yeah, you've heard it.
Yeah,
2. Why? Because we taught there's 2. There's right and wrong, yes and no. And school teaches us right and wrong. And so what happens is there's the coin sitting here, and you're on this side, and I'm on this side. You can see your side, I can see my side. And then what happens is you're going to be right, I'm going to be right. And when both of us are trying to be right, we create division, don't we? And I see that happening all the time on social media.
Yeah.
It is this huge division. You just when you put this podcast out, watch. There may or may not be, but some people will go and attack it. How can you say, instead of going, okay, well, what's my perspective?
Yes.
Where am I sitting? And how do I see things? So what I've learned over the years, and especially in effective communication, is yes, I have a position here, and yes, I may hold a strong position, but if I'm not prepared to see your position, I'll struggle to change my position, and 2, I'll definitely struggle to help you change your position. So what I have to do, I go and stand on the edge. When I stand on the edge, I can look over and I can see your position. Now, I may agree with your position or not agree with your position, but I can now see your position. Once I can see your position, then I can connect with you from your position. And I can now start asking you questions about why you think the way you think. Then, if I can do that, I can start helping you maybe think differently. Not because I'm right, because I think differently. And if I can get you to stand on the edge with me, we can see both sides. Now we can have a discussion. And if both of us can have a discussion, we can talk about how to move forward. We may still hold our positions.
Yeah.
But we can now talk about moving forward. You can see if you're open to see my side and I'm open to see your side, now we can sit and say, okay, so we both think like this. How do we move forward? And before I learned that from Robert, I learned it from a book called The Anatomy of Peace. The Anatomy of Peace is a wonderful book from the Arbiter Institute, and it was written by an Israeli and a Palestinian who became great friends and started a business together. And what they said, one of the biggest problems in conflict is that people go into conflict with a heart at war, not a heart at peace. And when you go at a heart at war, you're going to fight. When you go at a heart at peace, you have your heart is there wanting to find a solution, not wanting to be right. Because when you are wanting to be right and the other person's wanting to be right, you create division and you're divisive. And what I see on social media all the time is we're just creating more and more and more division because everyone wants to be right, rather than actually just stepping in and going, let me understand the situation. Let me understand your situation. How do you understand my situation? And am I prepared to move, and are you prepared to move? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And when you can, and you can both stand on the edge, you can now unite. And when you can unite, you can come together and build something greater rather than division. Division will always create chaos. And look, division is a way that people control the world. Because if you and I are divided, well, and there's someone sitting between us, we can be controlled. But if you and I are standing talking about the same things, I mean, you and I often disagree on stuff, but then we agree to agree.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
It allows you to see a different perspective as well.
You've been undertaking in my world, a pretty cool task over the last couple of months. You've spent quite a lot of time reading the Bible.
Yes.
I'm not sitting here telling you that I know and you, am I? You ask me questions and I ask you questions. And over a time, you're starting to change your perspective.
Yeah, that's funny enough. That's probably one of the most exciting things, because I was always like, who do I speak to about what I'm learning and what I'm seeing within the Bible? Because I have noticed that sometimes with some people, I can say, hey, I read this thing, it was this, and I get slated for it. And I'm like, wait, but I'm just getting an understanding of the, you have a much vaster understanding of the Bible than I do. But at no point have you ever made me feel like, no, you are wrong for having that viewpoint of what was written in the Bible.
But if I make you wrong, what is your likelihood of becoming a Christian?
No, it's diminished.
Totally.
I think it's completely and utterly
100%. So if I keep telling you, no, you have to, and no, you can't.
Yeah.
Whereas if you and I have a discussion, I go, interesting you say that. Have you thought about this? Have you read this? When you read that, what about this? There's a much higher chance that I'll close the sale on you.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Like we've been speaking about Book of Revelations, and I've been reading it, and I'm like, yo, God is crazy, man. God is crazy. But what an interesting read, because there's so many different things happening, and I feel like whatever you believe, your beliefs, I'm not here to preach that. I just sometimes why I, for example, moved away from Islam as a religion. I felt like it was you get told no too much. This is how it is. This is how it is, and I'm like that. There has to be more flexibility.
Yeah, and you don't like being told not to do shit, Jim.
No, don't tell me not to do something. Like, then I'm going to go worse with it. But I feel like that's been the great thing about being able to discuss the Bible. Actually, not just the Bible, just the world and life with you, is you have a lot of differing opinions to most people, but you are more accepting than most people, right? Most people are going to, so let's just say I know a lot of Trump supporters, but they can never articulate very clearly to me as to what they like about Trump. And I'm like, that is, for me, that is stupid. You need to be able to articulate why you view something that way. But I think that for me, it is about the edge, right? We speak about world leaders all the time.
I mean, it's like you take Trump. Well, I mean, I'm pretty clear. Am I like this avid supporter of Trump? Definitely not.
No.
I mean, you know that. The one core thing that I have liked about him He said he was going to do stuff, and he's done it. And I'm just like, whether I agree with what he's done or not,
100%. That's irrelevant.
that
right?
doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But there's one thing I look at and I go, that guy came out, he said to his voters, this is what I'm going to do.
Vote for me, I'm going to do X.
And he's delivering, he's doing it.
Yeah, how many?
Now he's doing it. And how many times in the world, not only in politics,
Everything.
but are people in the world telling you they're going to do something
They
and don't
don't.
do anything?
No,
Goodness me, that's got to stand for something.
It has
It's
to.
got to stand for something.
As I would imagine
You know-
it does. I would, if you, I mean, just, and this will be sort of my final thoughts on what you just said there, because I feel like that is so powerful. How many times have you yourself made a decision to do something and then you don't do it?
100%.
This guy came in and made promises that to most probably were like, nah, just saying that to get the votes.
No, to 77 million, they believed he was going to do it, and their hope was someone's going to deliver at last.
Yeah, and he came out and he just, the moment he got voted in, he didn't play around. He went at it. I think from the second day after the results were announced, he was at work doing the things he said he was going to do. And there has to be, you have to give him.
And then everyone's like, oh, not everyone. A lot of people are like, look what he's going to become, and he's going to become this, and I'm like, I don't know what he's going to become. I can just look at what he's done.
I mean, I think
and I can go, well, he made it. He made some decisions and did that.
I think it's pretty cool that people can see the future. Those people need to send me some lotto numbers, man.
100%.
Like, I need that, because clearly you can see what's going to happen. You can see he's going to become a dictator. So stop it.
So you know what? It's going to be very interesting to see how many people just in this podcast, and I think just my challenge is, you know, rather than reacting, because I think that's what people do.
Yeah.
Stop and think about it.
Understand.
And seek to understand and pose a question rather than just you know. I don't know. Yeah, my take is I'm tired of seeing it where people will just have an opinion and then call people names and slate them. It's like, have an opinion, put something concrete.
It's engaged.
I mean, simple question would be like, you know, I watch people, especially in the country at the moment. There's such a big divide between, you know, in politics and what the government has done and hasn't done. Rather than actually just attacking, just say, okay, I need to pose a question. Please give me 10 fundamental improvements that the government's made in the last 5 years. That's it. And if someone comes back with 5 fundamental improvements, you go, great, thank you. Okay, good. And then you ask a question. Have you ever thought about this? Or do you think this has changed? Or do you think it's right that this amount of people are living like this? And do you think this is great? What do you think the solutions would be?
Yeah.
Guess what? You're going to get solutions. Okay, great. So and learn to stand on the edge and learn to ask questions and learn to connect with people. When you do, we'll find solutions. Now, guess what? Those solutions aren't always the one we want.
No.
They're solutions.
Not
And
the
can we
best.
find solutions for the greater good of the greater number of people rather than just solutions for me? And I think that's where a lot of people are stuck, John. I just want to look after me, stuff everyone else.
Don't clip that piece. That is totally out of context as well. Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Uncovering Greatness podcast. A little bit longer, a little bit stronger. Thank you guys for your feedback. Thank you guys from, actually, let me say a few. Let me say our top 5 countries, actually. USA, Australia, Canada, Sweden, Netherlands.
What, following us? We're the friggin' Africans. Why we got...
South Africa's 7th. But thank you guys. I appreciate it. It's awesome.
Thank you guys.
It's so interesting. It really is. We will catch you guys next week. Have a good Easter. We'll see you guys next week on the Uncovering Greatness podcast. Stay awesome.
It's coming soon.
Salesman's Journey.